We've all been in situations like this. The stars align, the moon is full, and your date just told you he's a Leo. Uh-oh. What now? Welcome to the Meli LynnLee Variety Show, where today we're talking astrology. How it really works, what you need to know, and the things I want to tell you. Subscribe below, and let's get started. As many of you may know, I am a Gemini. I'm a Gemini. Of course I'm going to tell you exactly what I think, even if you didn't ask. I am a June birthday, and a very strong one at that. So I thought as a birthday gift to myself that I would do an astrology video about astrology and the things you need to know in order to use it properly. Astrology is a general vibe, and mostly for entertainment purposes, more like characters who we can identify with in everyday life.
These are my minions. I don't know their names. I don't want to know their names.
That being said, there's some very practical uses for it if you're willing to look past the surface. Manly P. Hall once spoke about the use of astrology as a tool of self-analysis, a way to know yourself better and to strengthen yourself by identifying your weaknesses. Examining the ancestors of the past and the sciences they used and believed in, though most were psychological sciences, that doesn't make them any less valid than a doctor diagnosing an illness today. To paraphrase the brilliance of Manly P. Hall, people of the past were more likely to believe in magic and miracles because they were humbled by the things they didn't understand. They lived in a world of mystery, and they didn't know what caused a lot of the things that happened in their world. So magic and miracles might have been a good way to explain it, mostly because they didn't understand what caused it in the first place. But there's so many things today that we also don't understand. Today, there is a phenomenon that I so lovingly refer to as expert syndrome, which basically, because of the internet, anyone can be an expert on anything because they have Google. The humility of saying, I don't know, for some reason today, brings some sort of shame to the average Joe, which it shouldn't, because no one knows everything. And I'm not a scientist, obviously. Modern humans have forgotten how to believe in anything, because there's so much information at our fingertips at all times. The difference between truth and lies is almost blurred, to a point where you can't tell the difference. Which is why propaganda works so efficiently. But this narcissistic, atheist, self-obsessed belief of, oh, I know everything, otherwise I have no value. It has only come to be that way because the internet has evolved faster than humanity. Hello, RJ. He's hanging out with us today. It's ruining humanity because they're not self-analyzing enough to know their faults, and instead, they look to Google for their every answer. Now, I'm the first to admit that Google is useful. I use it for my benefit as much as the next guy. But the difference for me is that I've done the self-analysis. I know my strengths and I know my faults, so I know how to avoid the information that might be less than true. This is where astrology comes in, because as much as you may want to fight it and say that it doesn't apply to you, if you pull up a full birth chart and do some honest deep diving into your subconscious, you're very quickly going to realize that denying the truth doesn't make it not true.
You need to mind your own beeswax.
Even those of you who like to blow up my comments about how God is the only way and zodiacs are evil and yada yada yada. You see this, right? You see me wearing this often. I'd like to challenge you with this. First of all, yes, only God knows the truth. But he didn't create astrology to cast spells and black magic. No. He gave it to us as a way to know ourselves better. He gave it to us as a way to self-analyze and make ourselves better. If you think it's anything else, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you should probably do a little more self-analyzing and maybe not cast judgment so quickly on people that you don't even know. Kepler, Galileo, Copernicus, all of the major astronomers were also major astrologers. There's a reason for that. Even in ancient Greece, the Antikythera mechanism, this thing, which looks like a wonky clock fossil, it's been described as the oldest known example of basically an analog computer, which was used to predict astrological events such as eclipses and such decades in advance. The Greeks knew that the stars would tell them everything they needed to know, and every other ancient civilization all agreed with them on one thing. The stars told all, and they still do. That being said, you cannot prove necessarily anything about astrology in the same way that you cannot prove what's inside of a black hole. We simply don't have the technology, or at the very least, we don't have the ability or comprehension to find those answers for ourselves, especially in the third dimension. This is why the scientific method can't, without a shadow of a doubt, say that astrology is true. Just like it can't prove without a shadow of a doubt what's inside a black hole. But what it has proven is that there are energies from the stars and the planets, radiation, all sorts of flares, firing off, bouncing off of other planetary masses, and hitting us and affecting us with the weight of like an atomic bomb. Like constantly, every day, we're being bombarded by energies. It's not necessarily so far-fetched when you look at it from that perspective to think that, oh, well, maybe there is something to this. It's not just a personality test. There's a lot more to it than that, which is why I'm here. And for all you skeptics, don't forget, I'm a skeptic too. For every fact we find 3 or 4, questions that we don't have the answers to. But people are only willing to be prejudiced so long as they're comfortable.
Maybe I'm an outfit repeater, but you're an outfit rememberer, which is just as pathetic.
Just like how echoes and energies can be held inside of landscapes and buildings and solid objects, the sun and planets put off energies that basically interact with us and can change our personalities, moods. There are huge events that happen every time a comet goes by. Like, that's not a coincidence. Of course, you know me. I don't believe in coincidence. Many of these energies move through dimensions of time and space that we cannot see, cannot prove that are there. The fourth dimension is just one part of it. And humans don't move through these dimensions. We don't experience them. Because, as I've said before, humans are limited. Their pain, their fear, their intelligence. Human beings are limited. So, who dares to say that they know it all? After all, we're no cosmics. All we can do is guess. So, if you'd like to guess along with me, here's the part of the video that I'm pretty sure you clicked on this video for in the first place. Disclaimer, your zodiac signs do not give you permission to behave poorly. They are a representation of you and are meant to be used as information to improve yourself. Don't be a jerk and use your zodiac sign as an excuse. That's not cool. Don't be a jerk. Your sun sign is the sign that most people are familiar with, and there are 12 sun signs in the zodiac. From start to finish, they are Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. In this video, we're going to... I just saw an orb go by my head. The spirits are with us. In this video, I'm going to start at Aries and go through Pisces and tell you a little bit about each one. The first zodiac is Aries, and Aries is the sign of the ram. It is ruled by the planet Mars. The birth dates for Aries are March 21st through April 20th, and Aries people are courageous, bold, and leading, but they are also very aggressive and can be impulsive. Taurus is the sign of the bull and is ruled by the planet Venus. The birth dates for Taurus are April 21st through May 21st, and Taurus people are often reliable, patient, practical, and often artistic, but can also be very stubborn. Gemini is the sign of the twins and is ruled by the planet Mercury. The birth dates for Gemini are May 22nd through June 21st. Gemini people are clever, friendly, versatile, and very good at communicating, but can also be superficial. No. Cancer is the sign of the crab, and actually its ruling planet is the moon. The birth dates for Cancer are June 22nd through July 22nd, and Cancer people are nurturing, sensitive, emotional, but can be defensive. Leo is the sign of the lion, and its ruling planet is, unsurprisingly, the sun. The birth dates for Leo are July 23rd through August 23rd, and Leo people are confident, proud, and radiant, but are the most vain of the zodiac signs. Virgo is the sign of the Virgin, and is ruled by the planet Mercury. The birth dates for Virgo are August 24th through September 23rd. Virgo people are often organized, analytical, and thrifty, but are usually meticulous in everything that they do. Libra is the sign of the scales, and is ruled by the planet Venus. The birth dates for Libra are September 24th through October 23rd, and Libra people are fair, diplomatic, and cooperative, but have a tendency to be indecisive. Scorpio is the sign of the Scorpion, and is ruled by the planet Pluto. Viva la Pluto! The The birth dates for Scorpio are October 24th through November 22nd. Scorpio people are magnetic, penetrating, and regenerating, but often obsessive. Sagittarius is the sign of the centaur and is ruled by the planet Jupiter. The birth dates for Sagittarius are November 23rd through December 21st. Sagittarius people are optimistic, generous, visionary, but are often very blunt. As someone who has Sagittarius as their rising sign, I'm very blunt, and I definitely have that quality. Capricorn is the sign of the goat and is ruled by the planet Saturn. The birth dates for Capricorn are December 22nd through January 20th. Capricorn people are ambitious, responsible, and conventional, but often are also overly cautious. Aquarius is the sign of the water bearer and is actually ruled by the planet Uranus. The birth dates for Aquarius are January 21st through February 18th. Aquarius people are independent and unconventional, but can also be erratic and unpredictable. They're kind of known as the wild card of the zodiac. Pisces is the sign of the two fish and is ruled by the planet Neptune. The birth dates for Pisces are February 19th through March 20th. Pisces people are compassionate, imaginative, and idealistic, but can also be very chaotic. As with all things in astrology, nothing is set in stone, so while these descriptions may resonate with some people, take it as it fits. Like, it's not going to be a 100% match for everyone, especially because there's so many other attributes that can contribute to not only your personality, but your overall well-being. Which is the polite way of saying astrology is not a personality test, don't use it as one. Some people born on April 20th might swing more Aries or more Taurus because they're right on the edge. My dad was an April 20th, and sometimes he was kind of Aries and sometimes he was kind of Taurus. It was kind of a wild card with him. But as long as you're using astrology to better yourself and understand yourself better, you're probably doing it the right way. Planetary movements change. The stars are different now than they were a couple thousand years ago. And of course, we have that like one leap day every, 4 years or whatever, which I'm sure has thrown us off a little bit. But for a deeper self-understanding and self-analysis, you can't just go off of your one sun sign. You have to know your whole chart, or at the very least, your moon sign and your rising sign, which is what we're going to talk about next. And for that, you must know how all the signs work. Or at the least, your sun, moon, and rising sign. While your zodiac sun sign is about the day of the year you were born, your moon sign is about the time you were born, and your rising sign is about the geographical place where you were born. All three are important because they are all in direct correlation with where the sun was, where the moon was, and where the earth was around the sun when you were actually born. Though it's important to note that the energies bombarding the earth for the 40 weeks while you were still in the womb, those energies probably affected your development and well-being as well, although those are more a matter of how they affected your mom and what secondhand kind of stuff you picked up from her. But I'm not even going to open that can of worms. Basically, happy, healthy mom, happy, healthy baby.
And my dad, thank you to my dad.
Your moon sign represents your emotional state and how you communicate and actually internalize those feelings. My moon sign is a Scorpio, which in this example basically just means that I internalize all of my feelings and I hide them away so that nobody can see them, but they're so powerful that if I don't let myself feel them, bad stuff happens. I've learned that if I let myself feel them, it actually makes me more intuitive and actually helps me understand how other people feel as well. Understanding your moon sign is just as important as understanding your sun sign because it's the part of you that no one else gets to see. It's the dark side of your personality, and if not taken care of and nurtured properly, it can become suppressed and become very destructive to your overall mental health and lifestyle.
Why do I have to be so cynical?
Your moon sign is one of the 12 sun signs that I mentioned previously, and it's the side of you that needs the most love and attention. Your third sign that is extra important is called your rising sign, and that sign is basically the way that you express yourself to the world and to others. This sign is very important because it directly involves your interactions with other people. And while my usual attitude in those regards is typically, I don't care what people think. That's honestly my own fault. Like, my rising sign is Sagittarius, and while I come across most of the time as very warm and bubbly and happy to be around everyone, I am well aware of the cocky energy that it kind of gives off sometimes, but I'm working on it. The main goal of knowing your three signs is to better understand yourself so that you know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and know how to best take care of yourself, as well as best present yourself in order to get the things you want out of life. But actually understanding how astral energy can affect you is where you have to dig a little deeper. That way you can actually begin to understand yourself on a deeper level, just as you have to understand the seasons where you live, the people you grow up with, the area of the town you live in, the books you read, the school you went to, the town that you live in, and the state that you live in, and the country that you live in. All of these things affect us. Just like the sun and the moon and the planets and everything else out there, everything affects us. Your moon and rising sign are simply examples of how those energies affect you without you even really being aware of it. One energy that not many people think about can start affecting you around your 27th birthday and doesn't typically end until your 30th birthday. And since I just turned 27 this year, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about. It's called your Saturn's return. Taking about 3 Earth years to complete its movement to where it was when you were born, Saturn is known in mythology and astrology as the great taskmaster. It represents maturity and discipline that should go along with it. As you are approaching the age of 30, this kind of makes sense. In theory. Often a very chaotic energy, this is often a time in a person's life where there is a lot of turmoil, otherwise known as a quarter-life crisis. There are many famous musicians and celebrities of all varieties who have become unfortunate members of the 27 Club. Due to one variable or another, they all unfortunately have passed away at the age of 27 due to some turmoil in their life. And while all of these people passed away unexpectedly, and it's a very fascinating topic, we might talk about that in another video, but not this one. We'll save that for the conspiracy theory episode, because knowing me, you know I'm going to make some of those.
And remember, kids, the next time that somebody tells you the government wouldn't do that, oh yes they would.
Though you have to admit, the correlation with their Saturn's return is remarkable. And as I've said many a times, I don't believe in coincidence. There's also this strange psychic phenomenon that happens when you turn 27, maybe because your brain's finally finished developing, and so you recognize patterns better than you did before or something. But I know for me, at least, with the abilities that I have, they've just gotten stronger in the last, year, up to my 27th birthday. It's just been a constant flow of just energy and information and all of this stuff that's just like a wall hitting me. It's very interesting. It's opened me to a new realm of possibilities that I didn't even think were possible, and that's coming from me. The angels have been on high alert in recent days, and I don't think it's just for my sake. There's something happening in the world right now that's causing people like me, more and more of us, to come out of nowhere and start connecting with each other, and I think it might have something to do with the age of Aquarius. Without getting too deep into the mechanics of it, basically, the Earth moves through the zodiac very similar to how people do, and is currently going into its age of Aquarius. It only moves into a new age every 2,000 years-ish, at least according to Google. Now, I don't really know much about the earthly ages, but I can tell you that as of March of 2024, we've kind of slowly started beginning to move into the age of Aquarius. Our last age was Pisces. I don't know why the Earth goes backwards on the scale. You'd think it'd go the other way, but I'll put all my sources in the description box, because maybe you guys will find something that I couldn't figure out. But the gist of things is that every age has an opposition to the zodiac. So we're in the age of Aquarius. The opposition of Aquarius is Leo. The age of the Aquarius has to do with the good of the group and personal detachment for the good of the whole. Whereas Leo believes in the self, the passionate feelings of the self, and basically the ability to decide for yourself what you think the right course of action should be. There is some serious headbutting about to go down, especially here in the US. It's been coming for a while, and all we can do is hold on to our loved ones as the world spins around. The new age is going to affect everyone differently, so I would get very comfortable with your strengths and weaknesses and plan accordingly. Because nature has the final say as far as humanity is concerned. And if an era of chaos does begin, well, survival of the fittest is nature's law. Zodiacs are great as a general vibe if you want to know what your strengths and weaknesses are in terms of bettering yourself. But not everyone wants to be better. Narcissism is a huge problem in our world today, along with many mental health issues that can contribute to the self-awareness that a person has. But if you can take a step back and be humble and look at it from an outside perspective, astrology is a good way to go about trying to better yourself. God gave us these tools for a reason. Like, he knows the end game. It'd be foolish of us not to use the gifts he gave us to our own benefit. Though I would advise you to be skeptical of anyone who speaks from a stance of expertise, because truthfully, to assume we know everything about any one topic is kind of arrogant. But the stars are the one thing that through the ages, every society has trusted to tell them what they need to know. The implications of saying, oh, well, they just didn't know what they were talking about, is a level of immature narcissism in our society today that is just unrivaled in terms of being arrogant. It gives vibes of every generation always looks down on the next, even though they grow to be exactly like them. I don't really understand it, but for some reason that seems to be the case. In all seriousness, no one really knows anything. Like, all we can do is be approximate. But for now, approximate's okay. Even my angels on occasion talk about full moons and solar flares. So if it's good enough for them, well, it's more than good enough for me. If you haven't already, subscribe below to see future episodes or add to my Cash App tip jar if you'd like to help support the channel. Thank you very much to all my Nahamo Nation OGs and all of my subs who are following me and watching all of my videos. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, God bless. And Nidoken Nahamo. See you in the stars.